Hey man, welcome to the channel. It's your boy Ty. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Switching it up a little bit different this time. We getting into some sports. Since what? I was probably like 11, 12. Been a Washington Redskins fan, Commanders fan. Like, man, I'm talking about like I go back to the days of y'all remember when Brandon Lloyd, he was Odell Beckham before Odell when he was on the team. Yeah, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like we've had a lot of ups and downs, roller coaster, man, when it comes to this team, man. This team, and I think we're starting to build a little roster, man. Who would have ever imagined Kliff Kingsbury as the offensive coordinator? Like it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. So we're gonna dive in to this a little bit. I'll give a little bit of feedback. I want y'all to definitely give some feedback in the comments as well too. If y'all rock with this, I'll do a little bit more, but let's get it.
The opportunity to work with Adam Peters, Dan Quinn, who I've always had a ton of respect with, and then the ownership group, what they're trying to do, their vision. It's exciting times. I've heard great things about the DMV, so just honored to be here.
It's a great place, man, DMV.
Are you able to provide any sort of clarity on sort of what happened with the Raiders and, how it led to here?
Yeah, I don't want to get into the specifics, but have a tremendous amount of respect for that organization and Mark Davis and AP. Huge fan of his.
How was Magic Johnson involved?
Once again, don't want to get into any of those specifics.
You were a head coach for a decade until last year. What did last year allow you to do, and does that set you up to be a better OC here?
Hey, my number one thing is, bro, get Terry the ball. Get Terry the ball. That's like literally like if you look at what statistics and everything, when you get Terry the ball, we win the game. So just get Terry the ball, man.
Yeah, I hope so. Coach Riley is a phenomenal coach. To be able to be around him, watch him from that view, his processes, how he works with the team, was awesome. A great learning experience. And then just to be around the younger players again really re-energized me, re-motivated me. I kind of got to be the good cop the entire year in that space, and felt like it gave me a chance to kind of reevaluate some of my processes and how I operate, and felt like it made me a better coach.
So the number one thing is
JP Finley, NBC4 106.
I'm trying to hear what he has to say about the
NFL
players and like what talent we have. So
Coordinator
we're
instead
gonna
of
hear what he
head
had to
coach.
say.
What are some of the differences that will be in those two different roles, and are you looking forward to some of those differences?
Being able to just focus on the offense will be great. Dan has a bunch on his plate. I've sat in that seat, and so you're dealing with the entire picture. With me now, it's focusing on that group and trying to maximize who we are personnel-wise, coaching staff-wise, and being the best we can just in that area. So to be able to back up and do that again is exciting, to put all that focus just into that and ready to get to work.
I think he's going to cook. I think he's going to cook for real.
Coaching the quarterback position. What is, if there's a roadmap for developing a young quarterback, what does that look like?
First off, you got to have talented players to work with. There's no doubt. I've been very fortunate to be around some really good players, good people, but I just try to figure out what makes them tick. Everybody's different. Everybody learns differently. Everybody processes differently, likes different plays, sees the game differently. So I really try to get to the bottom of who they are as a person, who they are as a player, and build it around them.
John Keim, ESPN. Everybody talks about the air raid offense. How has that evolved for you from the time you're in college to Arizona to now?
Yeah, at Texas Tech, University of Houston, we had Case Keenum and Patrick Mahomes, so we were throwing at a time.
I'm gonna say this. This could potentially be like. We always say like, oh yeah, Terry McLaurin's breakout year, but this, hopefully, I'm praying like this is the year, like because Terry's been over what, like 1,000, like maybe like 1,000. Has he been over like 1,000, like 1,100 yards? Like this could be the year where it's like 14. You know what I'm saying? Like it could be the year, hopefully. So we'll see, man.
The spread offense, just like a lot of those are. You get to the NFL, you learn the nature of that game and the different personnel groups and the matchups and things like that. And I'm not sure where we were on pass percentage my last 3 years there, but I know it wasn't at the top. So we want to be balanced. We want to be able to run the football and play action pass and really do whatever it takes to win. But the air raid deal is I'm honored to be a part of that because it was Mike Leach, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for him. But I wouldn't categorize anything we do under that name.
And what did you learn from maybe the head coach time, even in calling plays, whatever, that you can apply to now?
Every year you learn something different. Just consistency and approach. I think that's the main thing in this league. You're going to have your ups and downs. It's a lot of parity. It's tough games week in, week out, and you got to be consistent in your standards and your approach. And
I'm probably not going to do this full interview. I'll probably give up to like 10 minutes or something like that.
Hey, Kliff, Ben Standig with The Athletic. Welcome to town. How much say did you have in the other hires?
Ready to cook, man.
Ready
to cook.
These, people coming together mostly for the first time.
Yeah, it's always a challenge, but it's exciting. It was a collaborative effort with Dan, obviously, and Adam. We wanted to bring a bunch of high character people and good football coaches, and we have some former head coaches and former offensive coordinators, and so I'm excited to put the offense together. I think anytime you get a chance to reinstall your offense, you can be more efficient with your processes and your verbiage and your play calls and your scheme. And so we're going to all dive into it and figure out kind of what we do best personnel-wise and grow. So
I want to hear, how does he feel about Sam? Has he evaluated Sam yet? I mean, obviously they're not going to be like, oh, yeah, well, Sam, Sam's going to be the quarterback for next year because, we got the number 2 pick. So I just want to hear.
And last year, obviously, you were at USC. What did you kind of get out of that experience being at the college level? And then, obviously, you're working with Caleb Williams while there. How did working with him kind of help you, or what did that do for you as you're getting ready to do this job? Yeah, he's a great kid. There's no doubt. And like I mentioned earlier, just getting to watch Lincoln from afar and observe him and how he coaches and how he schemes things up and his processes was huge. And then just being around the younger players and really diving back into the everyday teaching. Sometimes when you're a head coach, you step back from the one-on-ones a little bit, and this allowed me to get back into that vein. It was basically just a reset.
Scott Abraham, ABC 7. Kliff, welcome to Washington. I guess when you look at today's NFL, what type of quarterback, like the ideal fit, the characteristics, the traits that you want to work with here in Washington?
The Chiefs quarterback.
That helped.
No. I do think the game, as you can see, you watch those guys, Brock and him at the end, like when the money's on the table, you got to be able to make some plays with your feet, move around enough to escape a bad play.
I want you to be a game changer,
like Lamar or
not a game
Kyler
manager.
Murray, but you better be able to move a little bit and buy yourself some time because the D-line, the rushes, the defense these days are so good. And then the intangibles, you want that player to be the hardest worker on your team. You want him to lead those guys each and every day when he shows up in the building. You want him to lift the building up, and that's why those guys make the type of money they do.
With how things ended for you in Arizona, now coming here to Washington, do you feel like you have something to prove to yourself, maybe
one thing I'll say is, it's evident. It's evident. We're looking for a quarterback, a mobile quarterback, somebody who can move. I think that's every team almost in the NFL now.
The rest of the NFL.
I don't. That's not how I approach it. I do this because I enjoy the game. I enjoy the players and the mentorship, and the Sunday is that type of competitive situation. So I've never got into to prove anybody wrong or right or anything like that.
Chad Ricotta with Fox 5. Coach, we heard from Dan Quinn when he first came in. He wanted to talk about all of the things that he learned from his job in Atlanta. I wonder what it is that you've learned that you're bringing here from your previous head coaching experience and what you've taken away from USC.
Yeah, I think, like I mentioned earlier, first and foremost, consistency and approach, and then the standard's got to be the standard no matter what, no matter who you bring in, what it looks like, how the season's going. You can't let that dictate, how you approach the team and how you coach. And then the USC deal, more than anything, just re-energized me being around those young players and those kids that
the
were
USC
excited to play the
just
game,
a whole reset,
even though they're getting
basically.
paid now, which is a little bit different.
It's a whole reset.
They just have a real thirst for knowledge.
And go back to the trenches.
Having spent time around Caleb Williams as you did this previous year, what in his game do you feel as though can translate to the NFL at a high level?
Yeah, I don't want to break him down right now.
This dude, I ain't here to answer Caleb Williams
go through
questions.
that. But like I mentioned, love being around him. Tremendous person, and I had fun at USC.
Hey, Kliff, welcome to town. Alex Fulham with DC News Now. Obviously, when you choose to come in as a coordinator, it's important who the head coach is. With it being Dan Quinn here, what was it about Dan that made you really want to come here and be a part of the staff?
Everybody trying to
Tremendous
work with
person,
Dan.
first and foremost.
Dan the man.
Football speaks for itself. I first met him in 2012. Kind of brief interaction. We were at Texas A&M. We played Florida, and they beat us, and I was really impressed by his scheme and how those guys played, and they flew around. And then watching him go to Seattle and the success he had in Atlanta, just the way he does things and treats people and helps mentor coaches and players. He's a guy I always looked at and said, if there's an opportunity, I'd love to work with him in some capacity. So for this to work out has really been big for me.
And then just kind of expanding on that, the vision that this Harris ownership group has. Obviously, they want to turn this place into a good culture, a winner. How much did that play in the role, and how maybe excited are you for what could happen here in your time here?
Bro, they ask generic ass questions.
You want to be a place that's passionate about winning.
I mean, I know they're gonna ask it, but it's just like the most like generic ass questions. How happy are you to be here? Like the fuck. I mean, he wouldn't take the job if he wasn't happy for it. Like it's like, yeah, I'm happy here. I love the area. You know, I'm excited to see the area, whatever in DC, whatever. Like, I mean, that's just me though.
Doing all the things necessary to do that, and you can tell. This is the time.
How happy you feel to work for this coach? I mean, you should.
And, there's no better leader than Dan Quinn and Adam Peters to get this thing started.
Thank you.
That's just me, man. So I apologize.
Hi, I'm Liam Griffin with the Washington Times. You said you're starting to break down this roster and going through film.
Okay.
What players or position groups have kind of stood out to you as you started to get familiar with the roster?
Yeah, I haven't got, I would say, far enough into it, but obviously there's some explosive pieces on offense that you notice. But
no names?
About 3 games in, so we have a ways to go. But, yeah, I'm excited. I think there's some pieces.
All right, so that's another generic question. A generic answer. I feel like this is a whole evaluation phase. Like, there's probably not much that he's seen. I mean, obviously, like we know, like Terry. I feel like Brian Robertson. Maybe. I'm trying to think who else who really stood out on the offense. I mean, Curtis Samuel did a good job too, but it's just the most generic ass like answer. Like, he's not really providing that much. Like, he's not even like mentioning players. Like, we ain't even mentioning Sam or nothing like that. So,
yeah.
Coach Candy Waller, Bowie Television. What do you think what are some of the key attributes an offense needs to have in order to be successful in this league?
Yeah, first and foremost, being able to adapt
generic
to your personnel.
Ass question.
Do what you do best, and don't ask them to do things they can't do. And
bro, I might got to become a little reporter.
Is all in agreement on that and takes pride in that. So we're going to build this thing together and be collaborative as we put it together, and just make sure we're putting our guys in the best.
I'm gonna ask questions just like, okay, from your evaluation that you've seen, in your 3-game evaluation that you've seen, what are the major improvements on offense that need to be made this year? You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Like, they're just asking like, you know, what makes an offense good? Like, it's just, man.
Situation possible. You got to be able to, you know, run the football in 4 minutes, and you got to be able to throw it in 2 minutes. And you saw that game come down to it a couple times the other night. That's how these games come down to, and so more than anything, just making sure we're putting those players in a position to be successful.
Hey, Coach, Donna Hopkins, Pro Football Plus. This league waits for nobody. When you look at your qualities and your strengths and everything, and to jumpstart this offense right quick, what do you think those things are?
All right, so I ain't even go to full thing because they still asking dumb questions. I mean, you know, asking dumb questions. So a couple things I picked from this. You know, I feel like Kliff was in the trenches basically. So this is an opportunity to get out of the trenches. And you know, when somebody coming out the trenches, like they're really trying to prove something. So I do think that we'll have a good coordinator. I do think that our roster is stacked with coaches to where like it's never going to get to the point where somebody else has all of the pool or all of the say. I mean, because everybody has tenure, everybody has a resume. So, you know, everybody's able to learn from each other. I will say that the writing is still not on the wall for Sam Howell, because I mean, he's working with the what they call him, the quarterback, the QB whisperer. So I mean, he could still learn. I mean, that was one season. I feel like he didn't get the full he didn't get fair treatment all the way, especially from Eric Bieniemy. Listening to this interview, it sounds a lot different from Eric Bieniemy's press conference. Like I said, I mean, I don't really think, I don't think that the writing is all the way out on the wall for Sam. Like, for instance, let's say we draft a quarterback. Sam could start for a little bit, let the other quarterback get mentored, or it could ever be a situation where whoever our starting person is could get hurt. Sam could come in and we'd be like, wow, I mean, he's got it together. So, and I do think from looking back to some of Arizona's offenses, he's definitely going to have a mobile quarterback. It's going to have to be a mobile quarterback. But they had pretty decent run games, I think, too, from some of their running backs. I think, who was it? Was it James Conner or somebody like that? He had like a 17, 20 touchdown season, or was it 16, something like that. So we'll see, man. I'm excited. But around here you can't get too excited for this team, because we'll get too excited thinking this is gonna happen, and then just everything blow up. But I mean, I think we have a lot of strong pieces together to where, like, it's not gonna fall, and things are not gonna mess up. So we'll see. Yeah, I mean, y'all make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think. Like, if y'all like these, y'all want more from me, more breakdowns, and what I think. Definitely want y'all to comment. Definitely let me know what y'all think as well, too. So, yeah, man, make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel, man. I'm out.
Old school, I want the Monte Carlo. Fit all black like some fucking charcoal. For years, I done made